If you are enrolling in Obamacare, there are a couple things that you're going to need to pay attention to so that you don't have issues later. My name is Jo Hutchison. I'm an independent health and Medicare advisor with Founders Life and Health. And today we are going to be talking about the three most common mistakes that I see people make when they are enrolling in Obamacare. If you are enrolling in Obamacare for the first time, just a little side note here, Obamacare is also called ACA, the Affordable Care Act. It is also called marketplace coverage. So all three of those things are the same thing. But if you are enrolling for the first time, or even if it's not the first time, there are a couple things that you're going to need to pay attention to that could cause you problems in the future with enrollment or could be expensive in the future. The first, and this is by far the most common, is making sure that you're enrolling at the right time. The most common time to enroll in an ACA plan is going to be during open enrollment. The open enrollment period in most states runs from November 1st to January 15th. So something really important to note here is that if you want your plan to start on January 1, you need to be enrolled in that plan by December 15th. So even though the open enrollment period goes all the way to January 15th, you won't be able to enroll in a plan that starts January 1, obviously after the fact. So you'll need to be enrolled in that plan by December 15th, but you do have till January 15th in most states to enroll, and those plans would start on February 1st. A really important thing to note here, though, is that, and I think a lot of people kind of miss this, is that that entire open enrollment period is for the following year. You won't be able to enroll in a plan on November 1st that would start, say, like November 15th. So that whole open enrollment period is going to be for plans that start the following year. So what happens if you miss the open enrollment period? Well, there's still opportunity for you to enroll. There are several opportunities called special enrollment periods. So if you have a big change in your life, that opens up the opportunity for a special enrollment period, and you can enroll in an ACA or an Obamacare plan at that point as well. So what are those special enrollment periods? I will tell you the most common one is actually a change in job. You maybe have lost a job, you maybe have changed jobs to a different position or to a different company that doesn't offer healthcare. Those are the most common situations where somebody might be looking for an Obamacare plan. Another opportunity for a special enrollment period would be a change in residence. So if you moved, it would have to be either to a different zip code or to a different county. But if you moved, that also opens up a special enrollment period. Another opportunity would be something called change in household. So if you got married, if you got divorced, if you had a baby, if there was a death in the family, all of those things would also open up a special enrollment period. Additionally, if you turn 26 and you can no longer be on your family's group coverage, I do have a lot of clients that contact me because either their son or daughter is turning 26 or they themselves are turned 26 and they can no longer be covered under their family's group coverage. And so at that point, that also opens up a special enrollment period and you can enroll in Obamacare. There are a few other situations that would open up a special enrollment period. For example, if you were leaving incarceration, that would open up a special enrollment period. Also, if you were becoming a citizen of the United States, obviously that's a special enrollment period that would offer you the opportunity for Obamacare as well. Currently, here in 2023, there is another special enrollment period that's going to be opening up that's going to be a lot more common. Medicaid is unwinding. They are going to be trying to recertify about 91 million Americans to see if they still qualify for Medicaid. And so a lot of people are going to lose Medicaid, which means that will open up a special enrollment period for all of those people. If that's something that applies to you, I'm actually going to stick another video right here, a link to a video that gives you a little bit more information about how to manage that process if you are losing Medicaid. The second biggest mistake that I see when people are enrolling in Obamacare is underreporting their income. So I'm sure you already know this. When you are enrolling in Obamacare, you have the opportunity to get a subsidy, which helps offset the cost of your monthly premium. The amount of the subsidy that you get is going to be based on your income and your household size. So the number of dependents that you have, whether or not you're married, and also your age. So like I said before, if you are using one of the most common special enrollment periods is if you've lost a job. Or often have a lot of people that are leaving their corporate job and going off to either freelance by themselves or they're self-employed. So estimating your income could be kind of tough. And when you are enrolling in Obamacare, they want you to estimate the income going forward. So you're not looking at your income going backwards, you're estimating what your income is going to be in the year ahead. If you know that your income is going to be pretty similar to the last year, then typically the rule of thumb is to, on your 1040 tax return, look at line number 11, which is your adjusted gross income. That's a good number to use if you feel like your income is going to be the same. If you're not sure what your income is going to be, it's best to either get a financial advisor involved if you have the means to do that. If not, then really put some thought into what that number is going to be, and you may want to estimate a little bit higher. And the reason that I say that is because if you underestimate, you will have to make up the cost of that subsidy on your next year's tax returns. And sometimes that's a nasty surprise for people. So underestimating what your annual income is going to be could come back to bite you. The good news is, on the other side of that, is if you overestimate what your income is going to be, there is an adjustment for that on your taxes as well. So either way, it's nicer sometimes to get a surprise refund rather than have to pay more. So I always encourage people to, if you're kind of on the border between, I think I might make this or I might make this, then it's best to try to stick with the higher number so that you don't have a nasty surprise come tax time. I have a special guest now. My dog has decided to join us. But one other thing on that, they will sometimes ask you to verify your income, especially in a special enrollment period. So if you are coming from a job, say, where you were making a whole lot more money than what you think you're going to be making going forward, and you are doing your enrollment paperwork and your income is a whole lot less than what you think it's going to be, they will sometimes ask you to verify your income. They are going to give you a couple months to do that, which part of the reason that they do that is to give you enough time to either collect paycheck stubs or collect invoices, but they're going to want to understand a little bit more about why your income is going to be so much less. And this brings us to mistake number 3 that people make when enrolling in Obamacare. And this is really when you're picking the plan. So you've gone through all of the application paperwork, you've figured out if you're eligible for a subsidy or not, and now you are at the point where you are picking the plan that you're going to enroll in. And really, this can be by far the most overwhelming part of the process. Depending on where you are in the country, you're going to have different carriers available to you in your state. And from those different carriers, you could have anywhere from 5 to 10 different carriers. And even in those different carriers, all of those different carriers are going to have multiple different plans available. So understanding the best option for you is where I've seen a lot of people get hung up as well. So what are some of the mistakes that people make when they are choosing a plan? Well, one of the most common ones is most of the plans, not all of them, but a lot of the plans will have you paying the entire deductible before a lot of the benefits kick in. So say, for example, like a doctor's office copay. If the deductible on that plan is $8,000 or $9,000 for the year, then every doctor's visit that you have or specialist visit that you have, you're going to have to pay for those doctor's visits out of pocket the full amount until you hit your deductible. But there are many plans that have a copay for your regular primary doctor and for your specialist. So it's really important to pay attention to those kinds of details on that kind of stuff so that you're not hit with, I have to pay $9,000 before anything really good kicks in. Another mistake I've seen with people enrolling in a plan is that they don't consider the network that their doctor is in. So of those 5 to 10 different carriers that have plans in your area, there could be only 1 or 2 that your personal doctor that you want to keep is in network for. So you don't want to get a nasty surprise after you're enrolled in your plan where you go to see your doctor and your doctor says, oh, hey, we don't take this plan. And now that doctor is out of network and it's much more expensive than it should be. Along the same lines as having your doctor in network, you can also check any prescriptions that you have, and some people don't know that. So it gives you the opportunity to put your prescriptions in and find out what your prescription copays are going to be. That's really important, especially if you have some medications that are on a higher tier. They tier medications. Tier 1 is generally generic, all the way up to tier 4 or 5. Those are specialty medications that can get very expensive. So we need to make sure that the plan that you're picking is going to cover the prescriptions that you're on. One other thing that people can get hung up on and have a nasty surprise about is really the deductible. And I know it's simple, but if you're not paying attention to what the annual deductible is and you don't know that your deductible is $9,000 a year, it just gets expensive. It feels not great when you've had to have some work done, you've had to have a surgery, you've had to have lab work done, and you're just getting all of these bills in the mail because you haven't hit your deductible yet. So there are lots of plans in ACA that have much lower deductibles. So you are probably going to have to pay a higher monthly premium for those plans, but they're there. So it's important to take a look and see if you can find those plans. Last little piece of advice here is how to enroll in Medicare. So you can go to healthcare.gov, get online, and do the enrollment yourself. It'll have you go through all of the prompts, fill out all of your information, your income information, see if you're eligible for a subsidy, and then have you choose a plan from there. If you choose to go that route and go through healthcare.gov and you feel like you want a little bit of assistance, through that platform, there's something called Help on Demand. There should be a button there that you can click, and the unfortunate part about that is that it's not immediate. You will probably have to wait for somebody to get in contact with you, and it could be right away. They could call you in 15-20 minutes, or it could be in a day or so. So if that's the time that you set aside to do that, and then you're kind of hung up and you're waiting for somebody to get in touch with you, sometimes that kind of sucks. Another option is to get in contact with a healthcare advisor. So you can find somebody in your area. You can feel free to reach out to us. We are licensed in most states in the United States, and our services are free of charge to you. We are actually paid by the carriers. We are not paid by you. So we can help walk you through the application process. We can help you choose a plan that actually works, that is in network with your doctors, that works with your prescriptions. So either way, you can do it either way. The online option is great, especially for those night owls. I have a lot of clients that are night owls that want to do these kinds of things at 2:00 in the morning. So that could be an option, but feel free to reach out to somebody that does know the system a little bit if you have questions, because you don't want to get hit with any of those nasty surprises down the road. I hope this has been helpful. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. I will put our phone number and our contact information down below. Thanks so much for watching.